Hey everybody, it's Rob here and welcome to my Infernal Horde Season 10 tier list with the best build to farm the brand reworked activity here. That's going to be extremely rewarding in the upcoming season here. The Infernal Hordes has been super juiced, so farming it has become more important than ever. You can get the different season powers here, and you are also guaranteed, if you kill the final Bartok boss with the Chaos Waves here, to get the new Chaos powers and Chaos armor in the different slots, and these are tremendously powerful. So farming this is more important than ever before, and you really want to have a good build to start with to farm this Infernal Hordes. And we consolidated a full tier list here with the community, also to take down the boss at the end. So let's get into it here. Obviously, this tier list is still a bit subject to change. There's still a couple mechanics that we don't fully understand. But we only have basically this separated into two tiers. We have the A tier, like these are like the top dog, like the best of the best, the creme de la creme builds. And then we have the A tier here with still super solid builds, but they are not as strong as the S tier builds. You're probably going to be like 5 to 10% less ether with the A tier builds here. So coming in at number 1 is still the Hydra Sorcerer. So you know the Hydra Sorcerer from Season 9. Many people love it. You basically place the Hydra and it completely auto-aims at everything. And this Hydra Sorc has only received a small damage nerf. However, with the Ophidian Iris being a chaos perk, like once you get this Hydra amulet on your pants or on your boots or somewhere, you're gonna be flying through these Infernal Hordes like crazy. And we also got some pretty crazy multipliers here overall from the different chaos perks that we can use. Plus we can put the Serpentine amulet, plus we can put the Serpentine aspect on the amulet now, giving us 50% more potency. So Sorcerer is eating very good, and the very strong thing is that you can just place, you chill in the middle, you place the Hydra, and it's just gonna auto-aim at everything, and it's super strong. I think overall the Hydra Sword is gonna deal even more damage than in Season 9. They did nerf the Serpentine a little bit. However, there's so many buffs with the Chaos powers and the Chaos perks that it's going to be stronger than ever. You also have the planners and the full tier list linked below, and all of these builds you can find right here on d4builds.gg. Very easy. The next strongest build here, number 2, or also in S tier, is the Evade Spiritborn. This is potentially the best starter build overall. And the great thing is here, with the Evade Spiritborn, that you can just stay like here, sorry for the quality, but you can basically just stay in the middle of the Infernal Hordes, getting way past 2000 ether on the good runs here. And you just stay in the middle, and those, you know, blue feathers that like fly to the sides here, that go everywhere, they're basically gonna auto-aim at the enemy. So you don't have to move either. So that's why these builds are so strong. Hydra auto-aims and these feathers auto-aim. And you see there's a new boss wave here, and you're just completely one-shotting all the bosses as soon as they spawn with this build. And the great thing is, you don't need like the Hydra amulet for this or something. Like you don't really need, you know, crazy gear for this to work, especially with the new Alacrity power that is a chaos perk. Like I've seen runs up to 2500 ether. And if you're looking at the planner here on the Evade Spiritborn, you get this Alacrity power allowing you to permanently evade even early on. And then if you happen to find the Chaos power Sepan Sontek, you can perma evade without any mythics, without any like big unique powers or something. You just need Sepan Sontek or early on Alacrity, and that's going to allow you to cast the Thunder Spike ever so often, auto cast it, and just perma evade like crazy. So that's, I think, a deserved rank 2. Then on rank 3 here, we have another Sorc build. Sorc is very strong this season. And this is the Ball Lightning Sorcerer. This is basically how it looks like in action. So very similar to the Evade Spiritborn. Is super strong. It's super mobile. The only slight disadvantage here is that you have to, you know, teleport to the monster, because those balls, they orbit you. There's also another version where you shoot the balls like a shotgun. But from my testing, the balls orbiting you is better, and you just move around ever so slightly because you have perma-teleport with this build in the end game. However, this build's a bit more gear dependent than the Spiritborn and the Hydra Sword, I think. So this is on rank 3. It's still tremendously powerful, and you see the crazy amounts of ether that you get with Ball Lightning. And they have like a super strong scaling with Ball Lightning because you're getting so much damage based on your ranks with advanced techniques. And there's basically a lot of Ball Lightning ranks that you can kind of get here everywhere. I think it's actually best if we rock the Ball Lightning ranks here as well. The ranks is just so important because it's going to give us multiplicative damage with advanced techniques. However, you will have pretty high mana consumption with this, so I definitely recommend combining this with Mana Shield. Very, very crazy, very, very strong build. Then next here we have the Death Trap Rogue. This is making a strong comeback, and if you remember from, I think it was Season 8, the Death Trap Rogue was the best build in the game pretty much, and they've nerfed it the past seasons, but this season they are buffing it again. This is not footage from the PTR, this is footage from quite long ago, but you still see like it's very easy. You can basically just chill in the middle. This Death Trap is going to pull everything, it's going to kill everything, you're going to have crazy damage, and you're going to be super immortal. This is one of the most chill builds in the end when you have the right planner. You just need to figure out your resources early on. That's going to take a bit. But once you have this up and going with the crazy resource and overpower on every hit, plus the pull, they've even buffed this pulling. This pulling is even more AoE. There's a 50% buff here in the patch notes to the pulling ability of the Death Trap, as well as a buff to making Death Trap a core skill. There's a Chaos perk that gives you 2.5 extra damage from the PTR. It's this one here, the Enervative Strike. They buffed the AoE baseline. And on top of all this, they also ultra juiced most of the legendary Paragon nodes for the Rogue, going from like 30% to 50% X. So that's going to be a very solid build again. One more honorable mention in S tier. This is like very end game. It doesn't really have crazy DPS. However, you remember how strong the Lightning Spear Sorc was. It also completely auto-aims. You just stand in the middle, the Lightning Spear will auto-aim. However, the Lightning Spear is not a core skill, so it's gonna be a bit weaker this season, and it's only really good if you have like some crazy endgame gear here that you can then rock with the automatically aiming Lightning Spear. However, this build I don't really recommend for most players. It's gonna be one of these if you wanna be the top farmer. You play Sorc, Spiritborn, or Rogue. There's also a couple more very good builds in A tier, but none of these will be as efficient as the S tier. So we have the Poison Trap Dance of Nice Rogues. This is going to auto-aim at everything. However, it's based on a dot. The Poison Trap can also be made into a core skill, so you get the crazy multipliers just like the Death Trap from the new Chaos perk, 2.5x. You also benefit, obviously, from all the Paragon buffs that they've done. But in the end, you still rely a bit on, you know, dot damage, and you don't really automatically pull the monsters. So I definitely recommend Death Trap if you want to go with Rogue. Then on Druid, you have a couple choices. So Druid in general has very high damage, but it doesn't really, you know, it's not really that fast. But the good news is in Hordes, you don't need to be fast, you know. It's a bit more like a stationary thing. Like you can stay like kind of in the middle. You want to only have like really good AoE and really high damage. And this kind of works pretty well on the Druid. So I think Druid is still ranked pretty high. It doesn't have the craziest AoE. You can play Ravens, you can play Cataclysm. If you have good gear, Cataclysm is probably the best. It might even have potential to move close to S tier because it just auto-aims, right? Pulverized Puddle is still good. It's the highest damage in the entire game. However, you are still relying on placing the puddles before it really does a lot of damage, right? And in the Hordes, you kind of want to insta-kill everything as soon as it spawns. We could probably add the Boulder Druid here as well. There's many more builds in A tier. And then there's obviously many more weaker builds, but these are like some top builds here. Raven is strong anyways. Puddle is strong anyways. I think Cataclysm, if you have good gear, is going to be the best for Druid to farm Hordes. But you know, you need some gear because the base DPS is not as strong as on the other builds, but it instantly kills everything once you have it geared. Wernado is also an option, but we still need to test this a little bit, how good the aiming is. Some people really like it in the PTR, some people don't like it. So on Druid, you have a ton of options. I don't really think there's like a clear winner on Druid, like on the other classes. Like, for example, on Spiritborn, like you definitely want to play Evade in Hordes. But there's also some other builds. You can still play like Quill Volley or the Ape Crushing Hands on Spiritborn. There's a bunch of good core builds that you can play. The Necromancer probably wants to play Shadow Blight. It has decent AoE overall, but the only problem is it's also not really covering the entire screen. So you still need to move around quite a bit, but that's probably still your best pick for the Necro. Bone Splinter also works. You basically shoot your bone spirit and it's splitting into all these splinters, having like pretty good AoE effect here, but also doesn't really have that insane instant damage. So I also don't think Necro quite makes it into S tier. However, these builds are all extremely strong. Like all of the builds in this list here are very, very strong. And then for Barb, you either want to play a basic build or you want to play some of this like AFK builds that I've shown you here. There's like a super chill build here that revolves around like the automatic twisters. They even buff this a little bit, the Chorus power that allows your shout to automatically cast all the time and automatically spawn its twisters has even been buffed a bit from the footage that I have here. It's this power here, Deafening Chorus, and it's now a 50% effectiveness effect. However, this build I think is going to struggle a bit at killing the boss. So maybe basic build's going to be better. We'll have to see how strong it's going to be early on. You definitely want to play basic or dual basic Barb even, rather than the auto twister. The auto twister is just very chill. I don't know, if you want to play like T3 or if you have really good gear for T4 already, that's going to be very strong. So that's going to be my tier list for the Infernal Hordes. If you want to blast it like a lot, obviously you just look for a group, right? If you do this in a group, you only spend one key. Everybody can spend one key and you can do 4 runs and you are guaranteed, my friends, to get those chaos uniques. So that's highly recommended usually. To get those uniques, and you can just see here like how fast we can kill the boss. Like for example, I think this was me here on Ball Lightning. Like the Bartuk boss, I don't really think it received like a buff, so it's gonna be like 2000 ether here. It's gonna be a pretty weak boss, so you basically just go to it here. This is for example with Ball Lightning Sorc. Like this has not been nerfed. In fact, this build, this Ball Lightning Sorc, has been buffed. So you're just like the boss spawns and he just dies within one of the Ball Lightning zaps, so he's instantly dead. And as you can see here, you get a ton of rewards. You see, there's like, this is a T4, and there's like 6 or 7 chaos armors dropping from this boss. It's quite a lot at least. Like, I'm not sure if always this many drop, but it's going to be very strong here with the Ball Lightning and getting the chaos powers, or with the Evade Spiritborn, whichever one you want to pick there. And Hydra Sorc, like for those of you who know this build from the previous season, I would not recommend going Mana Shield early on Hydra Sorc, but just play with the beast power and you're going to be flying like crazy with the Hydra Sorc as well. And then as a bit of an honorable mention, guys, maybe I'm going to make a separate tier list for this fully at some point. I want to show you quickly, it's like very similar, because a lot of people ask me like what is going to be the best build to farm Paragons with. And I quickly also want to show you the top 4 options here. You can see the others about 10% less efficient in A tier. So I think the 4 top builds are going to be Ball Lightning Sorc, Hydra Sorc, Crackling Energy Sorc, and Evade Spiritborn. So there's one build here, the Evade Spiritborn, that's actually competing with the Sorcerer Perma Teleport. Obviously, this is like in the end game, like when you have good gear. And I will show you a bit of footage here. So first of all, this is the Ball Lightning Sorc. I think this is absolutely king. But anyways, like the S tier builds are all going to be like, I think, pretty equal. So here, for example, this is a Pit 79. And again, this build has been buffed from watching this footage. Mana Shield is even stronger than what you can see here, because it only takes 2 seconds now when you take damage to get the generation back. And this is not sped up. This is normal play speed. And we can clear the entire run in about 60 seconds on all these S tier builds. Like the goal is to do like around Pit 80 in 60 seconds. If you can do Pit 70 in 50 seconds, that's even better. Or like I used to like Pit 69 in like sub 1 minute. That's pretty insane times. And this Ball Lightning, it basically takes the damage and it moves it with you, right? So that's why it's so strong. That's why it's so powerful. And that's why we can like make these crazy like 60-second times here with that build. Same goes for the Hydra Sorc. I think the footage that I have here is from 2-player. But this is also not sped up. This is just how fast it is. Obviously, this will require to have a Harlequin's Crest in the very end to have this kind of teleport speed. So this is not going to work early on. But like, you know, once you're like Paragon 200, 250, if you really want to go to Paragon 300, I think most players by that point will have a Harlequin's Crest. You can like guarantee farm it. You can get a guaranteed spark from Lilith. The immunity phase has been removed, so Lilith is very easy. You get a guaranteed spark on the season journey. So if you want to go to 300, like you're basically guaranteed to, at some point, you know, get a Shaco if you like care for it, if you farm for it. But you see like here, Hydra Sorc, it basically like auto aims at everything. And yeah, that's what makes it like so incredibly strong and powerful when you just go and place your hydras, and they basically like eat anything that comes in their way, and you can still play like this. You don't have to play with Mana Shield. In fact, I don't recommend it early on. I don't think Mana Shield is going to be great to play at the start. And yeah, like these runs are pretty insane. That's what you want to do. And then we have the Crackling Energy Sorc here. Big shout out to Lexu. You can see a run here with the Crackling Sorc. Like they're all basically the same, right? We are abusing the perma-teleport mechanics. This is a new build here next to the Ball Lightning, which was viable or meta in Season 2. This is the Crackling Energy Sorc. You're basically just using the Esodora and you overflow here the Crackling Energy. And this is also extremely fast. You do about 1 minute run with this build as well. And see, this is all played in the same tier, like all Pit 80, all 3 of the runs that I'll show you. And yeah, this is also very, very strong. Planners are also going to be linked there. Lexi's video is also linked in the description below, in the Excel list, in the tier list. I might make a follow-up on this, see if the farming and everything here held up to be true. I think this also like shreds the boss. Yeah, here, as you see, 1 minute run, boom, pretty clean. And then last but not least here is the spiritborn. This is the only build that can right now compete with the sorcerer, because you have this perma evade and you also have the auto aim functionality on those feathers combined with the eagle here, and then you also get an insane damage boost. So keep in mind what you see here. The spiritborn gets about a triple damage buff. You're getting the Vital Strike key passive buff, you're getting the Sunbird's Godget in the Chaos Power, and for whatever reason they also decided to buff all the legendary Paragon nodes on Spiritborn. I think Spiritborn is pretty overcooked now. Like it's really, really, really powerful. And it's probably going to do this speed here in about 85 to 90 when you're geared well. And I'm expecting this build here to clear Pit 100 in around 2 minutes on top of all this. So you see, we absolutely like one-shot and melt all the packs here and also do like a 60-second run. So all that is going to be pretty insane. And some honorable mentions here in the A tier, it's about 10% less efficient. Death Trap Rogue is still very, very strong. Poison Dance of Knives, many other Sorc builds. You can play like Meteor. You can like play a bunch of the core builds on Sorc. There's also a lot of core builds on Spiritborn, Quill, Crushing Hands, Rake, Stinger. They're all going to be playing like, you know, around Pit 100, but they're going to do around 2 minute runs, which is quite a bit less efficient. Maybe they do 90-second runs, but it's quite less efficient. Like this is really like 60 seconds. This is about, I don't know, 80 to 90 seconds, but a higher tier. 80 to 90 sec, but higher tier. So it's going to be something like this in the end. Like you're going to probably like play Pit 100 with these builds because they are like much stronger. Especially like the core Spiritborn builds and stuff, the Puddle Pulverize. Like it's probably gonna like speed 105 in like, you know, 90 to 2 minutes or something like that. Same for the Shadow Blight Necro and same for the dual basic Barb if you want to play those. I have videos on all of these on my YouTube channel here. We'll see what's gonna happen there. But I think these are the top 4 builds if you care about efficiency, if you care about Paragon farming. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Infernal Hordes is crazy. Paragons are going to be crazy. I think you should, like, first of all, care about the Infernal Hordes and just pick whatever build that you have fun with. Every class has an S tier build, and every class is going to, you know, do very comfortable on the Infernal Hordes and do very comfortable farming Paragons. It's just, you know, like some classes are like still a little bit better, but every class basically has an overall S tier build, and it's going to be a fun season, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know which class you are looking forward to play in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed, and let's see if we can get 3,000 ESA in one run. We'll see. Take care, my friends. GG. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.